Hello there, Dan the Weatherman here. Hey, welcome to my weather show. Special edition here, looking at the Australian flooding to peel back the layers and just see what's caused it. What's the reasoning behind unprecedented rainfall to eastern parts of Australia over the past several days. You've seen, of course, some of the images. And the rainfall we've seen in the span of several days, some places have been getting up 700-800 millimeters, getting close to a meter's worth of rain in the span of just a few days. Several months worth of rain in the span of a few days, and you think, how can you get so much rain falling in these places? And of course, go back to last year. Remember the extensive flooding we've seen, and again this year, the similar sort of thing. Lots of different layers, lots of different reasons, but we'll peel it all back and I'll show you what it is. Of course, first off, looking at the accumulated rainfall we've seen, that has been the zone where you see that white going to the red. That is in excess of 500 millimeters, and as I mentioned, some places have been up to 700-800 millimeters over the span of several days, all in that one zone. And of course, you see to the interior, barely even a drop. Parts of New Zealand have been bone dry for the last week or so. It's all down to the weather pattern. A big high sitting there, low pressure stuck. And with the flow around the high, you get the low level flow like that coming in. But it's not just that, it's not just an onshore flow. There's been an engine room, as we always see, with a low level flow like that, a big upper low sitting that is stuck. Converge the winds, cloud bubbles up, and then it just dumps. It's like Mother Nature's fire hose, barreling in, and it has literally sat there from southern parts of Queensland right the way down to New South Wales. And of course, with this part of the problem, we are in what is the back end of a La Nina. That tends to favor the jet stream being further south. It also favors what we call more blocking. When the atmosphere, you get just a blocking high, cut-off lows. And nowadays, with the warming planet, we're also seeing the jet stream becoming more unstable. Not like it used to be barreling through years ago. It just goes up and down, and it's like that conveyor at the supermarket where the lady says, hold on, let me stop. And it just stops and it doesn't move. And the weather gets stuck. That's why we see these sorts of scenarios. And at the same time, we sometimes get these cut-off lows. The upper energy comes through, and it's like a wave where you get the top bit bends over like a breaking wave, the low cuts off. But also, more importantly, what we're seeing with our warming planet is so much warm air. Not just at the surface, but in the mid-levels of the atmosphere towards the equator, equatorial regions. And look at that red area. This is showing the warmth in the mid-layers of the atmosphere, that red blob. The Coral Sea is just like an absolute oven of warm air. That spreads down, and when you have your cutoff low there, warm air is fed ahead of it. That filters in to what is the upper high, and think of it like an air hose of warmth. It goes in, it builds the high. So this guy sits there, it's just like a car stuck in the mud, dumping its fire hose of rain. It's got nowhere to move, and we see this so often, and that's of course one problem we continue to see with our warming planet. When do conditions improve? Well, it will improve slowly this week, but we've still got, of course, this one leftover upper level engine room, and the low is sitting there. We'll run this thing through the week, show you what I mean. So there is the low spinning through, the upper level flow, convergence, still 50 to 100 millimeters of rain. See it wrapping in, that sting in the tail. By midweek, it is finally going east. There'll still be some showers to parts of Queensland, more salt in the wound, but it will eventually clear through. And of course, you notice the track of the highs very far south with La Nina. As we go into the seasonal change, these will shift more north, still having an onshore flow, but these showers by late week, those won't be as intense as we've seen. And eventually, as you get more of the jet stream, we'll go into more of a westerly flow, a drier flow in the weeks to come. Still some rainfall to speak of where you see that purple area, parts of New South Wales, southern parts of Queensland, easily another 50 to 100 millimeters, perhaps even more. Yeah, through the course of this week, before that low finally disconnects and goes away. But as I say, eventually after that, going into more of a westerly flow and finally getting that chance to dry out. That's the weather for now.